Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to episode 25 of the Creabea Knitting podcast. Hello and welcome. Like I said, my name is Rebecca. I'm a knitter based in Edinburgh and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on and what I would like to cast on in the not too distant future, as well as some yarny goodness. And I have all of those and much more today, as well as two exciting things. The first exciting thing is that it has been almost exactly a year to the day since I first started filming the podcast. The very first episode went live on October 2nd, 2021, I think. And it's now the end of September 2022. And 25 episodes later, what a ride it's been. I really remember distinctly thinking, I want to be part of this community and I want to be contributing to the knitting community, and I've been like lurking online for a little while and I thought, I spend so much time watching these podcasts, let's just film one and see what happens. And it's a bit cheesy to say, but the podcast has most definitely changed my life for the better. I made some amazing friends, both online, like people I've never met before, people who I've met online and I have met, and some great friends here in Edinburgh too. And knitting has very much become part of me, quite a big part of me, I think. I don't know the last day I didn't knit, and I think having the podcast has really helped like keep my engagement going for the craft and keep my excitement up. And yeah, I'm really grateful. If anyone, if you've been here since the start, then a huge thank you. If you've been here since like the last episode or this is your first time watching, I'm also very grateful. And yeah, here's to many more episodes. The second exciting piece of news is probably more exciting because it feels like it was more work, and that is that my very first design, the Cargill sweater, is releasing today. So I'm wearing it. This is my Cargill sweater. It is a top-down raglan with this all-over dip stitch design, and I love it. I'm really obsessed with it. I'm so pleased that it's finally releasing, and I cannot believe how much work goes into releasing a sweater pattern or any pattern, to be honest. I'll pop some pictures in of what the garment looks like on so you can get a better view, because I can't be bothered standing up and I'm definitely wearing pajama bottoms, so that might take away from the glamorous look of the sweater. It is, so it's knit from the top down, and you start by casting on for the back neck and do some shaping to make sure that the back sits higher than the front, and then you join in the round and you knit the rest as you go. There's raglan increases, and then you knit the sleeves, you knit the body. I think that the getting started can be a little bit tricky, so I think the only tricky thing in the whole pattern really is the stitched pattern, like getting the hang of the stitch pattern. It's 6 stitches and it's a 4-row repeat, so a little bit of practice, like by the time you finish your swatch you'll know what's going on. And then the construction for the back neck, and there's video support for that. So if you're thinking, what level is this for me? Yeah, there's video support for the back neck. I've knit my version in Filcolana, it's been such a while since I finished this sample, Filcolana Anina in the colour Marzipan, and drops kidsilk mohair in, I think, the beige, light beige colourway. So yeah, you can see that like mine's got this lovely halo. There have been incredible versions from the testers. There's a hashtag, which is just hashtag Cargill sweater, where everyone's been posting their updates, and there's been some like amazing versions. I've seen there are a couple of like yellow gold ones in hand-dyed yarn, in woolly knit, like British wool. There's one with no mohair and just using, I think, Knit Picks Swish DK. There's a cotton version. There's something for everyone, so I would definitely recommend having a look at the hashtag if you're on the fence about the pattern. There is a discount running for the weekend, so there's 10% off until Sunday evening as like a little introductory celebration. Passes live, have it for cheaper than normal. And yeah, I I'm just really excited it's gone out into the world. It's been so much fun. I really enjoyed like the grading and the tech editing process, and then the test knit has been so enjoyable. I had such an amazing group of testers who gave great feedback but knit incredible versions, and I feel really like invested in them now with people. Like I'm so excited, like, oh, how's your kid getting on, and like, oh, did you get time to do this today? Like, yeah, I've really loved it. So the release of the sweater is kind of like the marking of a really enjoyable couple of weeks for me, and definitely some stress, definitely a lot of work, but it is out in the world. If you want to buy the pattern, then you can. It's on Ravelry, the link is down below. And if you don't want to buy the pattern, or it's not for you but you still want to show some support, you can go and just visit the page, because the more visits the pattern gets, the higher it comes up on the hot right now page, which means more people will like to see it. And if you favourite it, then it also means that when people filter for, I think, most liked, it'll come up higher and then people will see it. So yeah, favouriting or queuing or just visiting the page will also really support the pattern. Yeah, I don't want to go on about it too much because it's been like in the works for, I guess, like 4 months now, maybe more. So I feel like I've bored everyone to death with the Cargill. But yeah, the final thing I wanted to say was a huge thank you to a local photographer who reached out and got some wonderful pictures taken. That was just so exciting, and yeah, it feels like a very like a bit of a group effort. Amazing testers, great people helping out, really helpful tech editor, and now it's out in the world, and now I'm a published designer. What? So that's really exciting. I have something else to say and I forgot. Oh, I should talk about the fact that it's the sizes. I opened this up so I could remember to tell you. There are 11 sizes in the pattern. It's been fully tech edited and test knit. The finished bust circumferences are from 76 centimetres to 171 centimetres, which is 30 to 67 inches over 11 sizes. And all the information about like the gauge and the yardage and stuff is all on the Ravelry page below. And I think that's everything. The sweater was named after my grandmother, and I told her that I named it after her, and she was like, oh, that's so lovely. But I can't wait to send her some pictures of like the formal pictures we take of the sweater, and let her know that it's live, and just, yeah, I think that'll be really sweet. So yeah, it's a bit strange because I'm filming this podcast earlier than like usually I film the day before, but I'm filming on a week before because I am on holiday in Dublin when the pattern is releasing. I am starting a new job on Monday, October 3rd, and this is probably the last time, like, obviously when you start a new job you've got like probation for a few months, so my partner and I decided let's go on holiday, like for, I think we're going for 5 days before we start the new job, and like spend some time together and all those things before scary big new job starts. But of course we leave on, well, we're going to visit my parents for a few days in the north of Scotland, and then we're going to Dublin, which means that we leave, today is Saturday the 24th of September. Tomorrow morning we're taking pictures for the Cargill. Tomorrow afternoon I leave on holiday, and then I'm not home again until the Saturday a week today, so the day after the pattern launches. So I'm saying all this with the hope that everything has gone okay in the next week, and that I've managed to work out how Ravelry works to upload things, and the pictures went okay, and all those things, because yeah, otherwise I'm frantically sitting in a hotel room in Dublin trying to work out how to make Ravelry work. So yeah, it's my Cargill. Huge thank you to everyone, especially my testers, they were amazing. And yeah, I'll stop boring you now because now it's done. Oh, I also wanted to add, sorry, I'm saying I'm going to stop now. There are a few modifications. There are, especially in the neckline and the sleeves. So some testers have done 3/4 length sleeves, which look amazing. I think someone's even gone to like an elbow sleeve, like a little puffy elbow sleeve moment. And then there are 2 neckline modifications. Someone has just done an unfolded neckline, and just like, it's like a tall neck. It looks incredible. And then somebody's done an I-cord edging on both the sleeves and the neck, and it looks so chic. So I would definitely recommend those if you're looking and saying like, oh, it's nice, but I don't wear a folded collar. The modifications are chef's kiss. Okay, that's the first thing. That's the exciting news. Please just go and look at the pattern, even if you don't want to buy it. Or just like it, because that will mean more people see it, and it'll make it all feel worth it, because it's been a lot of work. I am going to do a video at the end of October about like the whole experience, so from designing through to launching, and then that'll be a month after it's been online, so I can hopefully share a bit more for anyone who's interested about like the experience and like the inspiration behind it and the grading process and the costs involved, because I think before you get into those things, it can be quite daunting and it's a bit of a black hole. So I thought it'd be nice to put that all together in a video. So that'll come out in about a month. Before I move into my finished objects and my works in progress, my last episode I also did a test call for the Care sweater, which is my second design, because I wasn't so put off with this one. Like, it was going well, my tests were great. I was like, okay, let's move on to the next one. So this is the sweater. As I said, it's called the Care sweater. It is a drop shoulder design with this colourwork motif around the middle. I'm actually wondering if I need to clean my lens. I think that helps, but I'm not sure. It might just be like the twilight light we have going on. Yeah, so this is the Care sweater. There are two versions. This is the one with a deep colourwork, and there's also one with a narrower colourwork. I've just meant dust flying everywhere. These little dust things are a sign that I need to dust these bookshelves behind me, because every time I sit here and film and like waft things around, dust goes everywhere. So I think this is a sign to dust. Oops. The Care sweater, I did a test call in the last episode and received so many applications, and we filled all the tester spots, and I've sent an email to everyone who was both chosen and not chosen, and the testing has started. So if you applied, thank you very much for applying, or if you shared or any of those things. The test is running, I think, until the 21st of November. So we've got a little bit of time until that comes out. But yeah, a huge thank you for, a big thank you if you applied or if you were involved in that one. And just felt like I should give an update. I feel like I had something to say about this and I've forgotten what it was. Maybe it'll come back to me. I'm not sure. I spent the past week I finished work on Tuesday. Tuesday is my last day. So I had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as like days off. And I theoretically spent it as I was like pretending that I was a full-time podcaster / knitwear designer, and I'm exhausted. I've done like 3 videos this week, and I did video editing and pattern writing. I feel like I've not knit, like I've been so busy this week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to like getting back to my normal job, because doing this full time would be exhausting, and I just want to sleep. So yeah, I feel like I don't have much knitting to show. Maybe I do in real life have a lot of knitting to show, but it doesn't feel like I've done a lot. Oh wow, this dust is really bad. So let's jump in. Okay. I do in fact, oh wait, I've misplaced a project bag. So I'll put that there before I undo all my stitches on my live project. Let's start with a finished object. And let's just say, we've got so many successes. We've got a successful pattern. We've got successful knitwear shopping. We've got successful cast-ons. We've got lots of success happening. But let's take a brief moment to stop and talk about failure. Because I made a mess of a knitwear project. So there is a pattern. It is called the Holiday Slipover by Petite Knit, and it is a super chunky slipover vest design knit at 10 stitch gauge, and I decided I would try to knit this in a day. We had Monday off because the Queen died, and then they gave us all a bank holiday. So I didn't have anywhere to go on Monday. They also closed all the shops, so it's like you could really just stay home. And I decided to spend the day attempting to knit this slipover in a day. And I was like, I'm going to get up, I'm going to stay up, I'm going to knit the whole slipover in a day. I was successful in that I finished it. I went to bed at 3 a.m. and let me tell you, I'm 28 years old. Apparently, at some point in the past 3 years, I've lost the ability to stay up past my bedtime. I felt like death the next day. I was so tired, I was so drained, I was useless. So apparently my days of staying up till 3 a.m. are long gone. I finished the slipover and I hate it. I think it is so ugly and I can't believe I wasted my time knitting it. So let me show you the slipover and then we can go through what I like about it, which is not very much, and what I don't like about it, which is a lot, and then my learnings. So here's the slipover. You know what, holding it up, it does not look too bad. This is probably the least flattering thing I've ever made to put on my body, and I made a really ugly tweed dress when I first learned to sew, like a midi tweed dress. It was so ugly and I wore it out of the house, and this I think is more ugly. These deep armholes they don't do anything for me. They hit, like, this is where the armhole comes. So like there is my arm and there is my armhole. So it's a tacked, like it's a design feature. Like that's not a mistake, but it just does not look good on me. It looks really weird. My ribbing like stands out from the arm. It's not like a neat thing. I hate the split hem. It's longer at the back and shorter at the front, and it just makes me look so wide in my middle. It's not nice. And I had a real hard time with the gauge of this. The gauge is 10 stitches per 10 centimetres, and it recommends either Cause by Santa's Garn or Sneffnug by Camera Rose held double, which are both super pricey yarns. I bought some Drops Wish in the sale and held it with some mohair and got gauge with my swatch. But the more I knit this, the more I struggled with gauge. And I think you can kind of see, like, it's not very neat. This has already been blocked. It's not very neat at all. I have some real laddering in places. And I felt that once I started working in the round, I just lost all control of my gauge. Like I just could not stay on top of it anymore. I measured just before I filmed to see if my gauge had changed, and I've got 9.5 stitches per 10 centimetres after blocking, which I think makes sense. But yeah, I just don't like this. I think my learnings are, like, super chunky knits are probably not for me. I think they probably look great on Petite Knit, who is by definition a very petite woman. She's tiny, and I think it probably looks great in oversized, but I look like a snowball, like an actual, like a yeti. I look like a yeti. Like, that's not a good look. I don't think chunky knits are for me. I've been put off them for now for a while. I did make a cardigan at like 14 stitch gauge 2 weeks ago, and I love it. So maybe it's like the jumper thing versus the cardigan thing, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm not going to be knitting anything at 10 stitch gauge for a while. Also because I didn't really enjoy, I think I was working on 10mm needles, and that just wasn't fun. Like, it hurt my hands and it just felt clunky. Like, it didn't have that like flow that I love about knitting. Missed that. What I did learn is that I think I will make myself a slipover. Not this pattern, but probably another pattern for Petite Knit, and I will do that. Probably like a DK weight gauge, because I could see this fitting into my wardrobe if I have one that I like. So it's not all negative, but this one is not for me, and I don't really know what I'm going to do with it now, to be honest. Like, I could just donate it because it's well knit and it'll fit somebody, and honestly I reckon like Petite Knit herself could wear this and it would look so chic and like oversized. So I might donate it. I also still have a lot of yarn left. I think I bought 12 balls of it for this. I did not need 12 balls, so I think I have 7.5 left. So I could reknit the yarn into something. So if I reknit the yarn, should I keep this in case I decide to, because I don't have enough yarn? So I might go on to Ravelry and see what patterns there are that have used Drops Wish, and then potentially knit up something with this. But yeah, it was a bit of a failure, to be honest. I'm really unhappy with my gauge. Like, I really just don't think it's like, I really feel like it's laddering in places. Yeah, So you can't win them all, and that's okay. If you can't tell, I'm a bit bitter about it. I'm a bit grumpy. I've not looked at it all week. Like, I finished it on Monday and I was like, I went to bed and I was like, I hate it. And I thought, wait until I wake up in the morning, like maybe it's just the fact that it's 3 a.m. And the next day I thought, no, I still hate it. And then I blocked it and washed it and thought maybe blocking will help, and I was like, no, I still hate it. So it's not been the most positive experience. It has also made significantly worse by the fact that I told my boyfriend that I was going to do this. I was like, I'm going to knit this sweater, this vest in a day. And he was like, is that okay? Like, do we have plans? Are you okay if I just sit and like knit all day? And he was like, yeah. He's like, but you know, if you do that, then you're going to end up with that vest. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, but do you want to end up with a vest? And I was like, sure. So of course now, he's also very smug because I finished it and I hate it. And he's like, yeah, I told you you wouldn't like that vest. Which of course makes it worse because he's right. So there we go. My only finished object was an unsuccessful one and will be put into the corners of a wardrobe to be considered again at a later date. It's not even like, if the body of it was longer, I could like make a pillowcase or something. But the armholes are so deep that I think there's maybe 10 centimetres of stockinette in the round. So it's not even like I could just like cut it up and use it for something else. If anyone's got a great suggestion, I would love to hear it. But I might just have to put it in the naughty corner for the foreseeable future until I can consider it again. Okay, let's move on from that because we're having a happy podcast and we don't want to bring things down. I want to keep it light and breezy. So I have a half finished object. What? And I'm so organised, I brought a sock blocker. So whilst I'm putting this on the sock blocker, I will tell you, I knit some socks. I'm currently working on some socks. I do knit, I had someone ask a few episodes ago, like, do you only knit garments? No, I do on occasion knit. I think it was on Instagram. And I will say, I don't really post any, like I finished that shawl for my mum. And I just don't know how to take a picture of it. Like, how do you take a picture of a big fluffy triangle? Rectangle. So I didn't post it. So I can understand why, if you are an Instagram follower and not a podcast watcher, you might think all I do is knit jumpers. But I did in fact knit not quite a pair of socks. I mentioned before, my sock mojo has been delicate and not really around. And then it got a bit cold a few weeks ago and I thought, you know what, I want some fluffy socks. And so I cast them on and I finished a sock. It's not been blocked, but there we go. It is a super plain vanilla sock with 64 stitches, yeah. And I just knit. I hate turning heels, so I have used, there's like a proper bit of just straw in the finished sock. Yeah, I don't like knitting afterthought. I don't like knitting, setting, like turning any heel, so I do an afterthought heel, because otherwise I find it really blocks me from continuing. And with my sock mojo being so delicate, I thought, like, let's not put any blockers up to it, let's just embrace the afterthought heel. I do tend to do heel up and gusset if they're gift knit, because I find that otherwise I mainly make socks for my boyfriend and my stepdad, and they both go through socks. So if I don't do a reinforced heel, they put holes in them within a month, and then what's the point in wasting all that time knitting the sock in the first place? But for myself, I just do an afterthought heel. This colour is called Vintage Salmon, which I think is horrendous, but amazing. It's Rico something. I do not have the ball band with me. It looks like this. It's really lovely. It's quite rustic. I think it'll be on superwash. It's 75% virgin wool and 25% nylon, I believe. Maybe polyamide. If you look up Rico vintage sock, you will find it. No, Rico vintage salmon, you will find it. But I cannot remember the exact name of it. But yeah, it's nice and rustic without feeling super scratchy. And I'm making some progress with my second one. So I've done 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I think I've got a 70 round leg on this. So we're not far away from putting in the waist yarn. It's just so lovely. I really, really enjoy this colour. It's got these little pops of like, I guess it is a black brown. And then I don't know if you can see like here a little bit. It's like some reddy oranges, some yellows. It's been really fun to knit on, and I have enjoyed knitting on socks. I use Magic Loop. When I first knit socks, I learned on DPNs, and I really like DPNs. And I tried Magic Loop a few times, and it was not for me. And then one day, Magic Loop just clicked, and it might be because I got my ChowGoo red lace, because we all know that they are the superior Magic Loop needle. I have tried shorties, 9-inch circulars, and I hate them. I hate it. And I have no desire to not hate it. Like maybe one day I'll decide to sit down and like get over it. But for now, I hate it. That's all I have to say on the matter. I have crumbs in my project bag. I don't know how they got there. So I'm storing mine in my Willow Bay bag. I switched out another project because this went so well with it that I felt it had to go in. And I have got a Willow Bay bag to give away. However, and it was meant to be this episode because it's the podiversary episode. However, we're a bit chaotic today. We've lost our minds a little bit. It's already like 5:15 in the evening. So I'm going to save the giveaway for next time. It'll still be the podiversary giveaway. I believe it's a dusty pink version of this. And it is just so beautiful. It's what I really love is it comes with this little clip inside and with some stitch markers on it. And so my stitch markers are all in use, but I really like that they just get pinned onto there to the extent that I like it so much that I have started pinning stitch markers into other project bags because I enjoyed having them to hand so much that I have now rolled that out across the rest of my projects. So yeah, vanilla sock, after sock heel, round, it's not a round toe, it's just a wedge toe. It's where you decrease every second round, and then for the last few rounds you decrease every round on both sides. So it kind of gives you like a nice little like, and yes, a half object and work in progress together. Okay, I really thought I didn't have any works in progress, and I really thought I hadn't been working on many things, but I have 1, 2, 3 works in progress. I mean, technically my sock is also a work in progress. So I've got 3 works in progress and like something I'm casting on very soon. Very soon. Let me talk about my, I guess my least exciting one first. And that is the Cargill Cowl. It was a running joke in the test knit group that the Cargill stitch pattern, like this stitch pattern is so soft. It's kind of like a ribbing, which I think helps it, gives it a nice fit. But because of this, you're like pulling up yarn from below. So you use quite a lot of yarn, and it just makes for like a very, very squishy fabric. And so the running joke was like, what else could you make out of the Cargill dip, like the dip stitch pattern from the Cargill? Because everybody wanted to be like completely wrapped in this yarn. So we were like a Cargill pillow, a shawl, a this, a that, but there will be a Cargill cowl, which I'm excited for. So it is, I've just cast mine on. It's going to be like a tube one, which is my favourite cowl to knit, and you can just see the beginnings of the dip stitch there. I meant to go down in needle size for the ribbing and I forgot, but by the time I realised I was already gone, so I just stuck with it, which I think will be fine. And it looks really tiny, but it blocks out a lot. I think it will be 60-ish centimetres around and then like 40-ish centimetres long. And it's kind of like a, I think it's going to use about, I mean, I've done the calculations, it should use about 400 metres of yarn. So if you've got like a special fingering and mohair, like a fingering suri, this would be a really good way to use up a special skein of fingering weight yarn. And I've got some people kind of like, I called it preview knit. So I've knit this, like it's a very, very simple, straightforward design, but so it's not really like a test knit, but what I would love to see is knit up in some more versions, and I'd like a couple more pictures for when it gets published so that people can see it in different colours. So I think there are 9 people who are preview knitting it for me. So I've sent them the pattern and we're like knitting it together, and they can give me feedback. I'd like some feedback. but the purpose is to like see it knit up into a few different yarns. I'm using fingering and mohair, and I know everyone loves mohair, so the idea being like people can see it without mohair and decide if that's for them. I am using Filcolana Arwetta in the colour, just the colour in white, I think it's just called white, and some drops I always do this, drops mohair, again in the colour white, and it is making this very, very, very soft and very squishy and beautiful fabric. I cast this on, oh itchy eye, for two reasons. The first reason is that I have to make, today I was making, oh no, there's a fly? Oh, I can hear you, but, is that a fly or is it a wasp? I think it's just a fly. We had a wasp in here this morning, but I think it's a fly. The first is that there is some pattern support, there's some videos in the pattern about how to do the dip stitch, and I wanted to have something on my needles in the round, so I cast this on. And secondly is that I'm taking this on holiday with us as like my, I'm gonna have a very simple knit and a not so simple knit, and this won't take up very much space because it's just one mohair and one little 50-gram ball, and yeah. So that is my Cargill Cowl. I think, yeah, I thought it'd be nice for people who want to use up a special scale of yarn. I also thought it'd be nice for people who maybe want to try the Cargill stitch but don't want to commit to the whole pattern or don't like sweater knitting, to still experience the squishiness. There's 4 weeks and I sent the pattern yesterday, so I think the 26th of October is when I said to the preview knitters to be finished by, so it'll come out at the end of October. And hopefully I've got some versions to show you, and we'll have a bit of a check and make sure all the numbers make sense and all those things. So yeah, I actually, it's been a while since I knit this, and so it felt very strange getting back into the habit of knitting the dip stitch. But yeah, it was lovely. My neighbours are all sitting outside, so probably you can hear them through my window. So yeah, that is my first one. It's the Cargill Cowl, coming at some point. And yeah, I bought some other yarn for it, which I actually will show you, but I couldn't get gauge with it. It's a shame because I was really excited about it, but that means that yarn is now going to be a sweater. So you win some, you lose some. We're all about the silver linings today. Like the sad things that have turned out to be quite good. Okay, let's talk about my next work in progress. This is in my Lobster bag. These are not project, well, they're not project bags, but there are a couple of bags. I've got two. I've got this one, and I showed the other one last time, this one. They're from Elizabeth Scarlett, who makes like makeup bags and like pouches. They're all very fashionable. And this one is called the Maxi Pouch, and I got it in the sale, which is the only reason I bought it. And it's got a big lobster guy on both sides. And they donate quite a good amount of, they do a collection every year, and they donate the profits to various wildlife charities, which I really like. In here, we have got an old project, and she's back. She's back on the needles. We've had some progress. I felt like I cleared a lot of my needles in the past few weeks, and I wanted to start something new. Or not get something new, but I wanted to make some progress on some old things, and I didn't want to cast on anything new. So I picked up my fingering weight sweater, which is the Daily Pullover from Purl of Purl Soho. It is okay. It is a V-neck sweater, knit in fingering weight yarn, and I've knit a whole sleeve. Do you look at that? Oh, you can see, that's really funny actually, you can very obviously see where the raglan ends because of my rowing out. So knitting back and forth, you can see my rowing out, and then it immediately goes into very, very neat knitting on the end. This will 100% block out. I am not stressed about it. And I actually think it's much more obvious on camera than it is in real life. Also a little like caught stitch or something there. So yeah, the sleeves are like bracelet length, so a touch shorter, which I love. That's my go-to favourite. And I've not finished the body, and the reason I hadn't finished the body is because I didn't know if I'd have enough yarn. So I have 5 skeins of this yarn. I will maybe stop talking about this yarn at some point, but I don't know when, so sorry. It's the Kinross 4-ply. It's a yarn from Wee County Yarns here in Scotland, and it is 100% lamb's wool, and it comes in 50 gram skeins. Actually, I can see one, let me grab it. It looks like this. The Kinross 4-ply. I bought this yarn at the mini Perth. It's not called that, it was called the Scottish Wool Producers Showcase in like, is that April maybe? And when it's washed, it feels like cashmere. Like honestly, it's so soft and so beautiful, and it like fills out and fluffs up so nicely. So I bought at the time 5 balls, and I wasn't sure if I had enough because I got to here in the body, I've only done a few more rows in the body since, so I got to maybe like a few rows short of where it is now, and finished a ball, and at that point I had 2 skeins left, so 2 50 gram skeins, and so I thought let me stop and knit the sleeves and then see how much I've got left for the body. So I knit one sleeve with 50 grams, and I think I had 12 grams left, which I have here, and I need to measure the body. I remember trying it on a while ago and thinking it was a bit too short, so I actually bought an extra skein. I went to a yarn shop this week and they had it, and I just thought let me pick it up because worst case I'll use it for something else, but that way I can really get a sweater that I love out of it. So now I'm going to keep going on the body until this is done, and then knit the second sleeve, and then like try on and decide. But I felt like I was playing yarn chicken, and now I feel like yarn chicken has been avoided. We're in the safety zone. There is no chicken here. We are actually, my boyfriend is vegan, so we are actually a meat-free household. So there is literally no chicken. Yarn chicken, real chicken, no chicken. So yeah. So I'm glad to pick this up again. It smells like pencil shavings, and I should ask, I know Amy Palco bought some of the same colour. This colour is called Porridge. And I should ask her if hers smells like this or if it's mine, but it just really smells like pencil shavings, and I like it. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's so soft already. Yeah, oh, I shouldn't rub it on my face actually because I have makeup on. Watch me like rub half my makeup on my sweater. It looks tiny, but I've tried it on and it does fit, but it does look quite small. So yeah, I think it'll be a while before I work on this. Like I said, we're going away on holiday, but when we get back I would like to get this finished. It feels like we're on the home straight with it now, and I think this would be perfect. Like, it's the weather right now where you leave the house in the morning and you're wearing a sweater and you need the sweater and it is warm, sorry, it's cold, and then within 15 minutes you are sweating. On Thursday I did something really fun, and I went to every yarn shop in Edinburgh. There are 3 yarn shops, and I went to all of them, and I filmed it all, so there's a video coming next week of all those, and I've got some yarn to show today from that. But I went to all the yarn shops in Edinburgh, and I wore a sweater, my Stockholm sweater, which is alpaca and mohair, and oh my goodness, I would walk for like 10 minutes and I would be literally sweating, like I could feel the sweat. So I would take off my sweater, and then I would cool down, and then it'd be too cold, so I put my sweater back on, and then 10 minutes later I was too warm again. I think in retrospect the alpaca mohair was probably the problem rather than just a sweater. And also I'm terrible at regulating my body temperature. So yeah, that didn't help, but that's the weather that we're currently having at the moment. Okay, one more whip, really? One more whip. We're flying through them today. I feel like I might have a little bit of like filming burnout because I filmed 3 videos this week that maybe I'm just getting to the point a bit more than normal because I've been chatty, like all my chattiness has been already this week. So maybe I'm a bit more like getting to the point today. That being said, it's 40 minutes in and I have like 15 skeins of yarn and a project still to show you, so maybe not. Okay, my next one is a design. It's in my petite knit bag. I love this bag. It's like a big bucket. It is quite big. It's not super portable, but what I can find is this has got a sweater in it, and if I go somewhere I can fit like another bag, say this one, so I can still fit this one inside this bag on top of my sweater, and then take this big one, which I've been doing a lot of. Like, that's been my go-to when I've been traveling. So in here we have my sweater. This is a design. It's going slowly. and I'm purposely not, I'm trying not to rush it. I think with my new job starting, I'm not really sure, like I don't really know what my life is going to look like in 6 weeks when my job starts, like once I've gotten into the job. I work from home, so there's not too much changing on like my day-to-day, but I get that I feel like I'm going to have to do, it's going to be quite intense at work, and I'm not sure I'm going to have a lot of time or like brain space outside of work to focus on things like pattern writing. So I've decided just to like not put any pressure on myself with this and just to enjoy knitting it. And I kind of would like to, by the end of October, have this in like a written up form. Either I'll send it off to get graded because there are people out there I can pay to do that. Like that could be a thing I could do with if I want to get it out there but don't have the capacity. Or maybe I'll put some time into, sorry, hiccup. I always get like a single hiccup every podcast episode. Yeah, so either I'll send it off to get graded or I will put some time into it myself. So I'm thinking end of October time, but I also definitely want to make a second sample of this because there are a few things that I would do differently next time. And it's my first time doing a saddle shoulder, which I feel like I've learned a lot, and so I'm looking forward to doing it again, knowing a bit more about what I'm doing. So here it is. So the fabric is glorious. It is, again, wow, I didn't realise I was this predictable. It's Filcolana Arwetta and drops kidsilk mohair. This is the colourway Caramel, and this is the colourway Almond. And so, like, it genuinely, when I think about the sweater, I just think of like everything delicious, because it sounds so tasty. And I'm just going to show you because I'm here. It's got a tag inside it, and I've now been putting stitch markers on that little tag and keeping them in here. So handy. Top tip. So the main feature of the sweater is the ribbing. So it's got this 3x1 rib on both the saddles and the collar and the hem and down the sleeve. So it's pretty simple, but it's got something like a bit interesting going on, which is the stripe. So I think it's going to look quite classic, but with a bit of a twist and hopefully like interesting to knit. I've been really, really enjoying knitting this. I blocked it. I think this is a thing, I every time now I'm designing, every time I finish a body, I need to block it to see if it fits. I don't know why, I think it's just impatience. But I don't have the patience to wait until finishing the sleeves with own designs. I do when I'm knitting another pattern, but not with my own designs. So the body has been blocked. It fits beautifully. I'm really into the fit. I like it a lot. I think, what was I gonna say? Oh, so yeah, I've just this morning picked up for the sleeves. I really love the way that it's, because this is blocked and this is unblocked, it's looking a bit dodgy, but it will be it is seamless. The ribbing runs straight down the sleeve, but I love that this is seamless and this has this edge. I think that looks really cool. And then of course under the sleeve again, it will be pretty seamless because of the pickup. So I think that's really cool, like a structural detail. And yeah, the ribbing will run all the way down the sleeve and into the cuff. Hopefully, if I can make that work. So because of the saddle shoulder, the saddle with a drop shoulder, it ends here. So you don't need to worry about that shaping. And the same with a raglan. With a raglan, your yoke ends here. So you just pick up and knit. But for the saddle shoulder, it ends like at the end of your shoulder. And so you need to like shape this bit before you join your sleeve in the round. And so that's what I was doing today. So this morning, we got up and watched the All Blacks play against Australia in the rugby, and while that was happening, I knit the sleeve cap with short rows. So now I'm just knitting in the round, and so we're going, yeah, like I say, we're going tomorrow afternoon north for 2 days, and then we're going back to Edinburgh for like just to drop one bag and pick up another bag and go and get the ferry to Belfast. 2 days in Belfast, 2 days in Dublin. So I can't decide. I have the next project is something I'm going to cast on, and that feels like my Ireland project. Like I don't really want to cast that on before the trip. So I'm not sure if I should take this one up north for a couple of days with me and hopefully make some progress on the sleeve. That ridge is really annoying me. I know it's going to block out, but for now, that bit there, it's just really bugging me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm definitely making a second sample, I think in brown. I have also brown drops Nord and drops kidsilk mohair because I am nothing if not consistent. And I'll make another sample and then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is my current design. No big rush, taking it easy, feeling a bit overwhelmed and a bit burnt out. Not really burnt out, just like I don't really have any desire in me right now to do grading for this. Like there's not a single bit in me that's like, yes, let's grade this. I'm like, yes, let's knit this, let's work it all out. Don't really want to sit down and grade it. And I wonder if that's just a bit of like computer fatigue, and been doing a lot of like editing and pattern reading and pattern sending recently. So it could just be that. But right now I'm just really enjoying knitting on it, and I'm in love with this fabric and I think it will be incredibly wearable. Yeah, and I wanted to do justice because I do just think that this colour, this camel colour, will just be incredible. And so I wanted to make sure that I would do it justice with whatever I made it. Oh, so in terms of next time, I think that my sleeve cap might be a little bit too, my arm depth might be a bit too big. So I might reduce the length of the yoke a little bit. And I did something really, really silly, which I may as well tell you because why not? The way I did this originally is that I did a provisional cast on for the saddle and then worked to the end of it and then picked up like across the front and across the back. That's how you work a saddle shoulder, which I didn't know. I only learned this recently. But I thought that if I started with provisional cast on, I could just unravel the provisional cast on and then pick up for the collar so that the rib would be continuous. Provisional cast on, you're always half a stitch off, and I didn't know this. So your provisional cast on will always be like a half stitch over. There are like modified versions which are bang on straight, but the traditional provisional cast on, you will always be a half stitch off. And I didn't know. So cute, I worked this out at knit night and I was like, what am I gonna do? Fortunately, I was at a table with a bunch full of incredibly talented knitters. And so what I ended up doing was I cast off, like I took out the provisional cast on and I cast off and I repicked up stitches. And so, I mean, it still looks, I don't think it looks untidy by any means. And the ribbing, I mean, my ribbing's a bit messy, but the ribbing still runs into the collar in the same way. But it is a bit chunkier because a cast off edge is obviously a bit more chunky than a cast on edge. So I'm looking forward to trying again and to see if it changes if I just cast on and pick up the way I normally would. And the armhole depth is my other thing I will change. And otherwise, I'm pretty delighted with it. I may make the collar a bit deeper still, like a real thicker collar. But I'm gonna wait and wear it and see what I think about it. So yeah, ta-da! I'd be intrigued. Is anyone else at saddle shoulders? I don't really feel like saddle shoulders have like their moment in the spotlight right now. We're really into raglan designs and we're really into drop shoulders, I feel. And I've seen some cool saddle shoulders, but they don't seem to take as much of the spotlight as a raglan and drop shoulder. I feel like I'm sitting very low. Maybe I should just sit up more straight. Okay, I'm going to quickly tell you about the thing I'm casting on the trip to Ireland because I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to the trip, like I really am. I'm looking forward to getting away. I'm looking forward to like seeing things. We're going to take a trip to the Giant's Causeway, going to go to some yarn shops. We actually have no plans for Dublin yet. I would say give us recommendations, but by the time this video goes live, we will have already spent 2 days in Dublin and we'll be leaving tomorrow. So probably not best time to ask for recommendations. But what I'm really excited for is we're getting the bus. We're getting on a bus and the bus is going to take us all the way to Belfast on the ferry. And then, I mean, I hope it is. A part of me is very worried that I've booked the wrong thing and we're going to get there and they're going to be like, where's your ferry ticket? I don't know why. I hate booking things. When I was after my first year of university, I went interrailing with my friends, and at the time you couldn't get, so interrail is like the It's a ticket that gives you travel on all trains or most trains within Europe for like a set price for a set number of journeys. And so it's a really good way to see a lot of Europe. But now you can, but at the time you couldn't travel from your home country to the place covered. So we took the ferry from, I think, Newcastle to Amsterdam, or like Hook of Holland, maybe, like one of the northern ports in the Netherlands. And we showed up for the ferry and I booked the wrong ferry, and we got there and there was no boat. And we went to the office and we're like, hi, we're here for the ferry. And they're like, it's tomorrow. And I had been on a ferry before that, but the next day we had to go back, like book like an emergency hotel, and we went back the next day and like there was a huge boat there, and I was like, yeah, it was very obvious there was no ferry yesterday. But I think that's given me a bit of stress about booking ferries because I booked it wrong once. So let's hope I booked it right. Anyway, all that to say, it's quite a long bus. I think it's like 6 hours. We had to get to Glasgow, which is an hour, and then 6 hours over to Belfast. And then it'll be 6 hours back, and then also the train from Belfast to Dublin, I think like 2.5 hours. So it's quite a lot. Oh, and then there's a bus up the coast to the Causeway and back. So we have quite a lot of like travel time, and I'm so excited for it because I'm casting on a sweater, and this is what I'm casting on. It is, it's going to be a Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit. My Stockholm, which I currently own, is my favourite sweater that I own. It's the one I always reach to. And I made that one, I cast that on a trip to Whitby last year with my boyfriend and his family, and it was such a nice trip. And I think about the sweater and I think about Whitby. And so I'm so excited to go to like this to be, I'm not finishing it. I'm only taking, I think maybe 2 balls of this, and I don't know actually. How much yarn should I take? I have 5 balls of fingering and more of that of mohair. I might take like 3 mohair and 2 balls of the fingering weight. I don't expect to get loads and loads done, but yeah, I just think it'd be so nice to have started it there. And the colours and everything is blowing out a lot. I'm so excited. And as per every time I say it, this cut out yarn is the same colour as my eyes, so I think it's going to work. I feel like it's going to be... I'm worried I'm hyping it up too much because I'm so excited about this sweater. But I already swatched and I put my needles in my bag that I swatched with. And I'm going to cast that on, and I'm so excited. I'm just really looking forward to it. Holiday cast on. I need to sort things out though, because I need to work out like, no, I've not packed a single piece of clothing. I've not packed anything, to be honest. But I need to like make a little notions pouch with all the things I might need, pack my yarn. We're also only taking like rucksacks because it's only 4 nights. And of course I need to make sure that I'm not taking up like 2/3 of my bag with yarn, which honestly maybe I will, because that's who I am. But that's another suggestion, is we are going to a yarn shop there. So I should buy less yarn. I should take less yarn, because if I end up buying yarn, I mean I will end up buying yarn. Talking of buying yarn, let's move into our final segment of the podcast. It's getting real. I forget that it's the end of the summer and the autumn has now started, because in my head I'm like, oh, we can like, I'm like, oh, it's great, I can film until 9 p.m. because it's late outside, but we're getting some real like twilight sunsetting vibes today. So, acquisitions. 2 exciting acquisitions to talk about. So the first one is, I went to all the yarn shops in Edinburgh. There were 3 yarn shops. There's Kathy's Knits, Ginger Twist and Be Inspired Fibres, and I had such a good day. And I filmed all of it, and I've not done a single bit of editing, but my hope is that it comes out next week, which I think will be the final like special episode for a little while, and then we'll be back to like podcasting because I'll be back to work, and yeah. But I really enjoyed doing these like extra videos, and it's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. So I went to all those shops and I got quite a lot of yarn. I got way more yarn than I expected, but I will go through them all like one by one in that video, but I do have some of it to show. So I have pretty much something from every single shop. So I'll go in I got more that I don't have here, but I'll show you one thing from each shop. So the first place I went to is Kathy's Knits, which is probably the most central, but also like the least well advertised, I reckon. Like I think it's hard to come across if you don't know it's there. It's tucked down a set of stairs. I had someone message me who told me my office is round the corner, and I had no idea the yarn shop was so close, which I think is a pretty accurate description. They stock a lot of woolly wools. So Jamieson & Smith, Blacker Yarns, JC Rennie, Woolly Knit. Yeah, a lot of that and more. So yeah, a lot of woolly wool, some sock yarn, and altogether really lovely. I met Kathy. I'd been with before and not met Kathy, and this time I did meet Kathy, so that was lovely. But I picked up, amongst a few other things, 2 balls of JC Rennie. I bought JC Rennie for the yarn swap box I did with Mega from Skeins of Dreams last year, and I've wanted to try it myself since, and I've just been like, oh, one day. But they had these 2 balls and I just could not leave without them. So it's this, it is JC Rennie Super Soft 4-ply, 100% wool, 50 grams, and I actually don't know how to pronounce this. Oogie Purl? I don't actually know. But something Purl. And you can just about see the colours on them. It has the most amazing rainbow, yeah, that's pretty accurate, like subtle rainbow pearlescent. It looks like mother of pearl. It's stunning. They are different dye lots, and I think you can kind of tell they're different dye lots, but I'm not too worried about it. And so yeah, each ball is 246 meters, so it's like a light fingering weight, and I am going to knit a musselburgh hat. I have been saying forever that I was knit a musselburgh hat, and I have not knit a musselburgh hat. And as an ex-resident of Musselburgh, it feels only right. So I think what I'll do is hold this with a strand of mohair. I will almost definitely, I always have drops of white mohair. I don't know how I always have it, but I always have some. So I think I will hold it with this. I will check and see, because I'm a bit worried the mohair will really, it's a very, very subtle pearlescent, and I don't want to completely wash out the background colour. I mean, if not, the idea of knitting the whole thing with just this is making me a bit sad, because it's like, it's very, very light fingering. So yeah, maybe not this plain, but I'll hold it with some mohair and see how we get on. And I'm looking forward to that. I think if I didn't have things on my needles right now, that would be my preferred thing to take on holiday, because I think it would fit really nicely in a little bag. So yeah, my first purchase. My second purchase, returning viewers will know I've designed a cowl, hat and mitten set, and I want to make a second sample. So I bought a skein of yarn. I was planning to get some yarn at the Perth Festival of Yarn, and the second day I felt really unwell and didn't go for 2 days, but I missed out on getting the fancy skein I wanted. So I don't think I've shown this yet, but maybe I have, but I don't think so. And this is a skein from Telling Yarns, who I really love. I've knit a lentil sweater in their yarn, and I have some of their mohair to make a second lentil, and they have decided they're now committed to using 100% British wool. So I think they're disbanding. I don't know what the word, I can't remember the word. They're stopping, what's that word? Discontinuing. They're discontinuing their mohair line for 100% British wool. So this is a 4-ply, sorry, it's not. I mean, it is a 4-ply, but it's not a fingering weight yarn. It is a DK weight yarn, 232 meters to 100 gram skein, 100% British from farm to needle, in the colourway Viserion. And it's a Steadfast base, which is 50% BFL, 30% Romney, 50% Masham, and 5% Swartbliss. And it is stunning. It's hand-dyed and it is beautiful. And so the way the pattern works that I'm knitting is there's a contrast and a main colour. So I went looking for a main colour, and I picked up 2 skeins of Cascade. It's a real antique heather. I think it could actually be called antique heather. I spent so much time looking at Cascade online. It would not surprise me if I knew this colourway off by heart. But they're not on the bands, I don't think. No, not on the bands. It's just a colour number. It's so yellow. Like, it's a real, it's like when you've had an old sweater that was white that has kind of aged a little bit and it goes that colour. That's exactly this colour. So hopefully this is enough. This is definitely enough. I don't know if this is enough. But I'll start with probably the mittens, because that's the one that needs to work on the pattern. and then do the hat, and then wrap up with the cowl, because I could always just shorten the cowl if I don't have enough background colour. So yeah, I picked this up at Be Inspired Fibres, which was amazing. It's quite far from me, so I don't go very often, and I think it's a good thing, because if not, I would be spending a small fortune there weekly. Okay, and my last one is from Ginger Twist, which is my local yarn shop. It's about a 20-minute walk for me, and it is Orkney Angora. So 50% Angora, 50% lamb's wool. It's 50 grams, 200 meters. Hand dyed in the Orkney Isles in Scotland, and I got mine in the colour lavender. Now I bought this with the intention of making the Cargill Cowl, but I was struggling to get a gauge without the fabric feeling very dense, and I thought, okay, like, quite while you're ahead. But I have 600 meters, and I know I can get a lentil sweater out of 800 meters, and I know I have some purple mohair in stash. So I ordered the 4th ball. I can hopefully pick it up tomorrow, but if not, I've got my backup yarn collector, Amy Palco, ready to go and pick it up when she's in next week if I don't get there in time. And this is what it looks like. Is it not just absolutely stunning? So I think this is going to be like a springtime sweater as opposed to anything I cast on in the near future. But it's incredibly soft. There's one thing, which is I'm pretty sure there were only 4 balls in stock, and I think this one may have been in the window at some point. I've wrapped up a little bit of it, but there's a distinctly paler bit of this yarn, and the paler section was only on one side of the ball. So a bit of a discoloration, but I think it's fine, especially when I hold it with mohair. I'll just be aware of that ball and maybe try to make sure to use it for things like cuffs, ribbing and whatnot, because, and just not use it on like the mid or even the back. Can I do it on the, I can't really do it on the back and the front are the same. I don't know, but I'll just be aware of that colour. But otherwise it's absolutely stunning. Oh, I knocked everything there. And yeah, Orkney Angora, it's so soft. I think this would make a really nice hat or something. It's a bit pricey. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but I think it was like £14 for 15 grams, which I think is a lot. But I do think it'll make a really beautiful like springtime lavender sweater. Okay, it's my last acquisition. It's a big one. Well, it's not like huge, but it's an exciting one. So, do I have them all here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So, I have wanted to make a half and half triangles wrap since forever, and then everyone makes them, and I want to make one, and amazing. And so I told myself that one day I'll buy a linen quill, like one day. And I told myself I would buy it when they had a sale on. And then for the past 3 months, Purl Soho have put a sale on linen quill like every 2 days. There's been so many sales. And then I would go on and look at the colours, and I couldn't decide what colour I liked. And I thought, like, it's not actually that expensive, but I was like, oh, it has to come all the way here. And what if I don't like the colours? And then also, with a half and half wrap, it's so much knitting. I was like, what if I don't like the colours I pick? Then I'm a bit screwed and stuck with those colours. And I've got to knit a whole thing in them. And then they released the striped version. I'll put a picture of the striped version. And it is the same construction, but they have stripes, which firstly means I think that'll be a lot more engaging to knit. And secondly, I got to use more colours. So all that to say, I placed an order at Purl Soho. The order, I placed it on, I had a few messages on Instagram about this. So I'm in the UK. I placed it on the 8th of September and it arrived yesterday, which was the 23rd of September. And it shipped on the 12th. So it took 11 days to get to me. It came with UPS, but it arrived with Royal Mail on my side, but it like was sent via UPS. I had a tracking number and it tracked accurately all the way up until it entered the UK. And then it was stuck for a while. So I was checking every day, and from like the 17th until the day it arrived, there was no update. And then I checked the morning that it arrived and it said it cleared customs and then it arrived that day. So it was all like a flurry of activity at the end. There was no custom charge. Now, I don't know if I got lucky. I don't really understand how customs work. Like sometimes there's a charge and sometimes there's not. I didn't pay any customs. I ordered 7 skeins of yarn. I'll go through them all because the pattern only has 6, so I have one colour too many and I can't decide which colour to leave off. but I ordered 7 skeins of yarn and it was just over £100 from once the dollar conversion was done. Obviously that would depend on the exchange rate on the day, but I'm sure it worked out like £103 for 7 skeins plus shipping, which I think is pretty good. Yeah, a few people asked about it. I would definitely order from them again. Also, this yarn is amazing. It feels so soft. I'm just going to take it out of the pack and then talk you through my colours. So they have some new colours, which was the primary reason why I finally gave in, because I really like one of the new colours. And I've still been struggling to decide which colour I'm leaving off. I still don't know. I asked on Instagram and I still don't know. So linen quilt is 50% Highland wool, 35% alpaca and 15% linen. I think I was worried it would feel kind of crunchy, but it doesn't feel crunchy at all. It's very, very soft. It's got a nice, we'll do the Rebecca skein test. It's got a bit of drape, but not, it's not like pure alpaca, you know, when pure alpaca like completely flops. It's not like that, but it is definitely a bit drapier. It's so soft. I'm very excited to work with this. Okay, I'll start with the colour I like the most. Let's go that way. It's a popularity contest. Okay, this is the new colour, I believe, and this colour is raw sienna. And it is like a very yellow caramel. I really like this one. This is the colour I could see myself ordering more of. Okay, then we have wheat flour, which is a bit like my porridge yarn from earlier. And then we have kettle black. Oh no, I've undone the skein. I hate this when this happens because I can never get it back looking in the skein as good as it looked before. Kettle black. And so I love these three together. I think these three together look really good. And then we get into the slightly more out there options. So then we have fresh pickle, which I really like. Oh God, knocking on them. Then we've got juniper green. Then we have fresh nutmeg. And then we wrap up with salt and pepper. So, this is the only colour that I don't know if I love. It's kind of dirty. Like, it's not, obviously, but that's what it looks like to me. Like, it's not... I don't feel like it looks heathered. I feel like it just looks a bit dirty, but it looks really good from far away. But I just don't know if I like it up close. So that is my least favourite one, I think. I asked, the thing is, so that, yeah, okay, let me hold them all up, because there are six colours in the pattern, and I want to use 6 colours. Some people said, like, add an extra colour in. I could, but I think I want to use 6. And so these are my, can you see them all there? 1, 2, yeah. So these are my colours, and I had to rule out one. And so the most popular option to rule out was the marl, which I do think looks pretty good, to be honest. And the second most popular removal, I think, was green, and I don't know which green people meant, but somebody said that the two dark black, these two are quite close in colour, so take out the dark green. That also looks pretty good. So, and then I could just take out this one if it's a colour I like the least, but I feel like it's missing, well, maybe not. That's the thing, oh my gosh, I'm having a real hard time holding these up. I could take out the nutmeg and you get this palette, which I also quite like. So if anyone has got a great tip on how to select a yarn, please let me know. They're not all yarns are used equally, so some are used more than others, and it tells you how many meters you need per yarn on the page. It's a free pattern. Not all, but a lot of Purl Soho free patterns are free. And so I think what I'll do is I will start with my 3 favourites, and they will be my top 3 that use the most amount of yarn, and then from there on I will work out as I go. As a small child, my favourite thing to do was to collect paint chips, and then to like create elaborate scenarios about paint chips, and I feel like that was in preparation for this moment. I would like exclude them, and then I would put them in groups, and then there was so much paint chip excitement. And so I feel like this is the equivalent of my paint, like that was preparing me for this moment. Maybe the nutmeg is the one to leave off. So yeah, so that was really exciting. I am very, very pleased to have this. It was I went through a bit of like a treat yourself month. I was like buying everything. Anyway, it's fine, I will knit it. So yeah, I was very excited to buy this, and I would definitely buy from them again. And if you're UK based, like I'm not going to promise that there are no customs charges, because I don't know if I got lucky. But I would definitely order from them again, and shipping wasn't too expensive. Oh, it's very soft, and so I'm really struggling to keep them on skeins because they're all just trying to fall out of the skein. Okay, off with the stack. Okay, you're done. There we go. So, yeah, I would definitely order from Purl Soho again, and no complaints, and I'm very excited to cast it on. But as you can see, I have maybe 50 things to cast on in the near future, so who knows when I'll get around to it. I thought it'd be it might be a very comforting knit for new job starting. If that's a bit stressful, I could see I could see a half and half. Like, I heard people say that they moved house and they had the half and half, and it really like calmed them. So I feel like it could be a good new job cast on. Yeah. So that is everything. I hope this has been enjoyable and not too ridiculous. I feel a bit flat today, I think. It's been a busy day. I wanted to wake up this morning and film at 8:30, and that did not happen. So I feel like usually I film in the mornings and I'm a bit more bubbly and a bit more energetic, and today probably I'm not as energetic and bubbly as sometimes, but maybe that's a good thing, because sometimes I think I'm a bit too much. And yeah, it's personal wise, holiday. When you're watching this, my holiday will always be over, but at the moment in time, my holiday is yet to begin, so I'm looking forward to that, some relaxing time. I'm feeling a bit more stressed about holiday right now than I'm excited, but I think that's just because I've got so much to do before we go, but that's okay. And obviously the Cargill release is coming, I mean it's out now, but for me it's still a week to go. I'm very excited for that. Again, stressed, but mostly excited. And then I'm going to come back and go straight into a new job. So I don't really know what things will look like around here once my job starts. Especially with the nights getting, like, with the nights, I mean, I've been quite fortunate that in my current job, I've been quite flexible, that I could like start early, finish later, film during the day. Like that was completely fine. And it's been summer, so I could film like before or after work, but obviously the nights are getting shorter, so, and I don't know what my new work is going to be like, so I don't really know how I'm going to get around to filming. But I've also a lot of busy weekends. We've got like 2 weddings coming up, and I'm going to the Netherlands for a weekend at the end of October, and yeah, we're watching some rugby. I'm going to a class. There's a lot going on right now, so yeah, I do feel like it's a bit chaotic. So I'm not really sure what my scheduling will look like for the foreseeable future, but hopefully I can stick around and stick to my 2 weeks. I really enjoy doing every 2 weeks, so I hope I can stick with that. What I can tell you is I will most definitely still be knitting, because I can't stop. It is a very wholesome but very real addiction at this point in my life. So yeah, I'm now going off to make some vegan duck pancakes with oyster mushrooms, which I saw online. I hope they're good. I'm really hungry. And put my yarn away, and I think watch the most recent episode of Rings of Power. So thank you so much for watching. Any support you show to the Cargill pattern will be very well received and very grateful, whether that is purchasing the pattern or sharing the post on Instagram or just going along and liking it on Ravelry. And yeah, I will be back next week with my yarn tour from this week, and then I'll be back hopefully as normal for a regular podcasting schedule after that. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you soon.